Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik, the Thunder podcast, episode number 43. And how small is Gio Van Bronckhorst, by the way? How small is he?
He's a very, very small man.
A very small man.
Like he's a midget compared to me, and I'm a small man. He is tiny.
What height are you again, Ryan?
I don't want to disappoint any of the ladies that are listening in. 5'6", I'd say.
Wow, and Van Bronckhorst is smaller than that, by the way.
He's very small.
He's smaller. I didn't mean to shame you there, Ryan, by the way.
Don't worry about it. There's nothing to be ashamed.
I was hoping that you would have ran along with something like, I'm 6'2" or something like that, you know.
I used to do that. I used to kid on I was that, but there's no point because it never works out anyway. So
me and you, Callum, we just dwarf both of them. You know, they're just huge giants of the game. But
I'm standing on the shoulders of the giants.
I can tell that the Rangers fans who have clicked on this already are going to be in that comment section fuming. They've been hating the patter, man. I'm in love with it. I think it's the funniest thing that's been on Twitter in a long time.
I love it even more because it winds them up.
I know.
That's the main reason.
Why did he get so offended?
I don't know. They want him to be big and tall. He's only 5'10", but he's apparently smaller.
It's like, I don't know about you, but the amount of people I've seen like, he's the same height as Ange. I'm like, that is the whole point in this joke. Like, that is the whole reason we are winding you up. What's been, right, between the three, what's been your, Calum, I'll start with you, what's been your favourite one so far?
Some have been quite good. I seen one there, see the wee guy, he's like the wee Asian guy and he's got the glasses on and he's dancing.
Aye.
Said, where's fucking Van Bronckhorst up sub club? That's what we started. That or the one with the Eredivisie said him with 10 pence.
10 pence a piece. That's brilliant. What about you, Ryan?
I like the big AirPod. Massively between that and the Stuart Little family portrait with Gio getting held in the brother's hand.
I think my favourite so far is there was one that's, have you seen that big boss baby? That like thing going out the street and everyone's like, boss baby. That video in itself is living rent free in my head, but somebody put up a tweet with that captioned, no way, they made a film about Van Bronckhorst.
Did you see the person that said Gio Van Bronckhorst uses a cotton bud as a mop?
Stupendous stuff. I enjoyed I was sitting there last night and I was just singing away the whole that new chant we've got going, you know. I've actually forgot how it goes now, but I changed it. Watching Giovanni on his tippy toes.
Did it bang?
It did bang, aye. There we go. Fine. But I don't live for that, you know. I live just to be a humble man.
Speak for yourself, because I do. I love the
I know we can tell because you tweet about 40 times a day.
That's that, man. Tweet
right. We're getting carried away with Van Bronckhorst being small, but he is a very small man. Very, very small man. I'm joined beside me today by, I'll start with you, Callum. Craig, how you doing, my man?
I'm not too bad. Had an enjoyable weekend. Nice result today, so it's good to celebrate it.
Enjoy the game. Was it cold?
Oh, very.
Was it cold? As I wasn't there.
Even though you're sitting in your shorts.
I'm sitting in shorts now. I'll get the Bruni part now, but no one about the football. No chance.
Right.
Like men. You're a man, Callum. You celebrate football like men. Ryan, nice to see you, mate. How you doing?
Doing good, mate. It's only been a couple of days since I was last here doing TSF, so it's becoming very, very familiar all of a sudden after not doing a couple of TSFs for a while. I'm pretty good. Another win on the board. Wasn't the best performance, but we'll get onto that. But I'm buzzing. You know, it's another 3 points on the road to hopefully getting our title back.
Yep, and you're off the coke.
I definitely am off the coke. My mum is so proud of me. My dad is so proud of me. They're getting their son back. I'm off the coke now. I'm on the water. Agua. Forza agua.
Just clip that wee side, man. I'm off the coke. My man, dad, proud of me. You know, I hope they're listening because you know, this boy he's doing well. I've swapped places. I'm still on holiday, so I've decided full fat coke.
Tonight are counting down now.
Tonight at midnight is when the holiday officially ends for Mr. 118. What a week I had, boys! Just truly tremendous. You should have been there. You would have loved every second.
Oh, I know. You were the only one that was here. That was actually in Germany, rather.
So I may as well address that Kieran Auld is not on the show today. I know a lot of people would maybe like him to be here to tell our tales of Leverkusen and Cologne and see what mischief we got up to. Kieran was loving the gas cookers. You know, he was hitting them up every night. I'm joking, but he is an. If anybody knows Kieran Auld, they'll know that when he comes back from a holiday, he's a different man. I seen him at that game the day. He just didn't want to be there. He did not.
Was he there through force of habit, basically?
Yes, he did not want to speak to anybody. Like the slightest annoyance was really getting to the boy. So there was no chance he was going to be on this podcast tonight. But Leverkusen was fantastic. I'll probably drop in a couple of stories here and there, but I want to start with one story about a guy that I don't know if he knows that I do YouTube. This is just a guy that we bumped into at this Irish pub, right? I was telling Callum this on the way here, and I find it just absolutely hilarious. Before we start the football, it was a guy from Ireland, right? And he had one of those really thick Irish accents where that if they talk too fast, you're just not making out a word they say. He must have been from... I don't actually know where he was from. I'm not even going to guess because I don't want to offend him if he's listening to this by any chance. I could say he's from Derry and he could be from County Cork for all I know, so I don't want to get it wrong. And he was just talking. He was fine, but as soon as he was steaming, I just couldn't make out a word he was saying. But he kept bringing the spoons out. He plays the spoons,
Wow.
And he was getting up in the karaoke. That one person singing, he's got the mic down here playing the spoons. It was just some laugh. But
Laddie's get spoons down.
but one thing that he kept saying was the only words that he could make out when he was steaming was Maggie Thatcher. You know, I was like Maggie Thatcher, and he kept coming up to her. He was like, boys, I hope Maggie Thatcher dies. I hope Maggie Thatcher dies. I hope you die in your sleep, Maggie Thatcher. And I was sitting there like that. You might want to sit down, fella. We've got some news for you.
Crack open another pint, man.
I was like, something happened 10 years ago.
I know people use the joke of some people using the Internet Explorer, but that guy is on dial-up. He must be, because what was it, 2012 when she died or something like that?
Nearly 10 years now.
Mental.
He's like, I hope you die, Maggie Thatcher. You know what?
Oh, what's that I say to you in the motor? You must have been heard. I think he's watching Martin O'Neill's team play.
I know exactly. It's like, in the team tonight, boys. Some laugh. Shout out to him. He's brilliant. I've got a lot of stories that we'll probably tell over the course of the future of the show about Leverkusen, but I don't want to be sitting here all day talking about my fun time. But the beer was cold, the currywurst was hot, and we lost 3-2. What a result. I was proud of them, but I really was. I mean, Callum, I've not actually spoke to you about it yet. Did you enjoy the game on Thursday?
I know I did. I said also I wasn't getting expecting us to be 2-1 up at a point. I was expecting us to go in, not just sit in, but I thought, well, try and prevent it being an R4-0, like the home game. But the fact we went over, Ange clearly went with an attacking game plan. I thought, you know what, that's actually quite good. It's enjoyable to watch us in Europe.
Aye.
Then I did enjoy the game. Disappointing to come away beat, but as you have said, you can only be proud of the boys.
I know. Let's kick off the show with talking about the kind of end result then of this group stage. I know we've got one more game to go, but it's kind of turned into a dead rubber in a sense. It'll still be a good game, and it's good to watch Celtic try and put themselves up against these sides, so it does still have a lot of meaning for Celtic.
Yep.
But we're now in the Conference League. That is confirmed. That's where we're going to be playing after Christmas. Ryan, look, there's a lot of people making comparisons of Rangers and Celtic making different competitions in the Europa League, Conference League. Let's just put this is a Celtic podcast. I want to talk solely about Celtic, but if you said to me that Celtic would have ended this group stage after taking away results that were, let's be honest, massive improvements of previous years' away results.
Yep.
If you said that we would go to Betis, be up 2-0 at one point, lose the game by 1 goal, that we would be up with 10 minutes to go in Leverkusen, lose the game by 1 goal, I would have said, right, okay, I'd rather the wins, but, you know, still, I would have been shocked. I would have been like, okay, I don't see that happening. But if you said to me that we would have went head-to-head, toe-to-toe with these giants in Europe and managed to get to the Conference League, I would have bit your hand off at the time. Because when that draw was done, with Ferencváros, Real Betis and Leverkusen, the chances were slim.
Yeah, absolutely. I was when the draw came out, I was like, we'll take second or third in this group because that just guarantees us European football. The aim was European football after Christmas, and we've got that.
Yep.
This comparison that's going on between Celtic and Rangers. Look, Rangers had a diddy group compared to us. We had Leverkusen.
I seen a lot of people were raging. Well, not a lot of people. A couple of people were raging that you're saying that on the stream last night. A lot of people were like, oh, Sparta Prague aren't a team that are that easy to beat and all, you know, like that kind of.
No, but we were awful last season. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Like we barely had a manager last season. Just a guy putting out a team and basically hoping for the best. But to get 6 points so far in this group and only have one pace, and then that was at home against Leverkusen, and Leverkusen were so clinical that night, but we still had chances in that game. You think of Kyogo's numerous chances in that game. to be in it in away games when we've watched in the past us getting horsed at PSG, at Bayern Munich, etc., to actually be in with a chance in those games when it was coming into the last 10-15 minutes, I think that's something to be proud of, and we'll go into the Conference League with renewed confidence, hopefully get a couple of signings in, and let's make a real crack at it.
So Callum, how do you look at the Conference League for Celtic? Do you think this is a competition we should be striving to go far in?
Yeah, I'd like to think so, but also you look at some of the teams that are still kicking about in it. You've got your Romas and such. I think Spurs can even go through for their group.
They can. I think
that only just.
Well, it's got to come down to the last game because
Aye.
either them or Vitesse can qualify from that group now.
You've got them. You've got like Copenhagen. Also played them last year. Europa League. They're still due to go through. So there's some good teams still in it, but you'd like to think we could go and make a sort of mark in that competition.
Yeah, I'm looking around at it just now, and as it's so Celtic finishing third in the group means we would have to play sides that finish second. Is it in the Conference League groups? I believe so.
I think so. Yeah.
So right now, as it stands, the teams that, if it was to finish like this is a kind of quality of opposition you're talking about in the next round. You're looking at Maccabi Tel Aviv, you're looking at Partizan Belgrade, Roma being one of them, Randers, they're one of the sides, Slavia Prague, Slovan Bratislava, Tottenham Hotspur and Karabag. It's a good few teams in there who are tough opposition. You look at Roma, you look at Tottenham, you look at even the likes of Partizan Belgrade are a side who
Slavia Prague as
Slavia
well.
Prague. These are teams that can cause problems. But there's teams in there that you can see Celtic going kind of toe to toe with.
I think it all depends on how good a draw we get.
Yep.
If we can get a sort of gimme team in the next round, it'd be absolutely brilliant. Get a wee bit of confidence going. Obviously, we'll have new players coming in January. You would hope. In fact, I think we can pretty much assume that there will be new players coming in the door. Hopefully we can get them in and then get them accustomed to sort of European football. If we get a good first round draw, then we'll see who we can get in the next round, and then the world's your oyster, basically. Yeah,
and Callum, we talked there about how it's disappointing not to make the next round of the Europa League, but I think that there is an importance, and this is stressed how important it was to make it after Christmas, because even with it being Conference League football, it's going to give a lot of our younger players and players who are just through the door that experience of playing in European football, and more specifically knockout European football, which can only be beneficial if we want to, ultimately we want to be in the Champions League group stages next year. So it's only beneficial for these guys.
Definitely. I think, as I said, you see a lot of players and they'll say the driving factor to come to a club like Celtic is because they're going to be playing European football, whether it be Conference League, as you said. If they just come through on January, that's a brilliant way to start yourself off at Celtic. Going to the Conference League, maybe you're the deciding factor in a couple of results. The name you make for yourself going into next season's European football is phenomenal.
And then you've got to remember as well the driving factor of the final being in Mr. Ilya Meta's home country.
Will he be out of power by the time that comes around? I think he's just fulfilling his presidential duties just now, because he's actually been not abdicated, he's been sort of ousted from power, basically. So maybe he's got more time to watch the games. I saw he tweeted today.
Yeah, he did.
He looked like he was watching on a really, really dodgy stream. I respect that.
I doubt the Celtic games are shown on Albanian's Freeview.
I mean, you never know.
I don't that. The hustle he's gone through to watch your games, fair play.
Christ, you couldn't watch it in the normal telly over here.
Do you not think? Remember when he came to the game a couple of weeks ago? Do you not think it was the oddest thing? People asking for photos with him.
That video of the guy with the vape, and he's just, right in the leader of a country's face. Man, that's goals, fair play to you, big man. Yeah. What a story about Leverkusen, right?
Here we go, another one. Yep.
40 decks. 40 decks. Like, not 20, not 10, not 20, 40 fags, one day.
Was that the big chungus?
Oh, that was a 30. I never got a 40, I got a 30. So you can get a 20, 30 and 40 deck out there.
Much was that?
The 30 deck was €8. Tremendous price. Not as good as Spain, right enough. And we don't endorse smoking. Say quit smoking, stop smoking, don't smoke.
The thing is, in Spain, you always had that one relative that you would smuggle home X amount of cigarettes to. My handler, as like a 10-year-old, my handler cigarettes.
I walked into duty free in Munich airport yesterday. Just walked past Kieran. Amber Leaf, to it, right? That's fine. Not going Virginia, right? That's fine. That's conversations you pass in the airports. Is that gold or red? Aye, okay, Marlborough red. That's fine, right? If you smoke, man, but I'd get a grip of yourself.
If you smoke, get a grip of yourself.
Aye. And if I was on my holidays. I'm allowed. I've chucked it. You know, I'm doing well. But aye, Conference League. I'm looking forward to it. If you could, right, and then there's no point having this conversation. But me and Kieran Old were talking about this today in terms of like, because we want to go on our next trip now. That's just gave me. I love, mate. Honestly. What an experience. Cologne was a nice city, but the people of Dusseldorf made it very clear that is the dirty, stinking town.
Aye.
You know, the people of Dusseldorf. So we were going through to the Dusseldorf game on the Friday night, and they were like, where are you staying? And I was like, Cologne. And he's like, oh, Köln, dirty, stinking city. Bad
That's
people.
quite ironic, isn't it? Because it sounds like Cologne, obviously.
Aye, he's like, you're from Glasgow? Yes. They're like, yes. He's like, Edinburgh. Dirty, stinking city. Same thing. I was like, yes, big man, I'm loving it, man. And I've kind of adopted Dusseldorf now as a team of mine. It was a nice.
Fortuna,
even though,
yeah.
do you know what the final score in the game was?
What?
They got beat 1-0 with a 93rd minute winner. I started
Who were they playing, sorry?
Heidenheim. So,
is this in the second division?
Is Weide Bundesliga. So I said to the guy, I was like, oh, do you think you'll win tonight? And he's like, well, we must win. Either that or we are in big trouble. I felt so bad leaving that stadium. I was like, we've cussed these bastards.
Just having a wee look at the table.
I think there's something like 12 on the table right now, but that's a 52,000 seater stadium.
Aye.
And there was only 15,000 there. Like,
Dusseldorf's a massive place, isn't it?
Massive city. It's one of the host cities for
Yeah.
Euro 2024 as well. But right, okay, as me and Kieran Old were talking
13th
about
place.
early, they're not having a good
And who
run
are
this season.
top? St. Pauli?
St. Pauli,
Friends?
Yep, they're doing well. So, me and Kieran will talk about this before we start talking about today's game in great depth, because we're 16 minutes in, we've not even done that. But if you look at Maccabi Tel Aviv, Partizan Belgrade, Roma, Randers, Slavia Prague, Slovan Bratislava, Tottenham Hotspur and Karabag, who you want in the next round? A bit early because it won't finish like that, but if you got to pick right now out of them.
In terms of what? In terms of good location or in terms of
Just
who
in
we
terms
want as well?
of just anybody just now, doesn't matter for any factor, who would you want? I tell you what,
Randers or Karabag?
I say Tottenham Hotspur. I really do.
In terms of just the actual football aspect, aye. In terms of a trip, no, that's shite down there.
I've got to think though, they will strengthen in January, guaranteed.
Aye,
It looks as if they're going to bring in Vlahovic.
Yeah, I'm
from
not really
Fiorentina.
thinking ahead of Conte, maybe Revolution, giving a wee bit of a revolution to the
Yeah,
side.
you've got to think about that.
Yeah.
But I would love to go to Rome.
And the state they're in now, I'd say Tottenham, because do you know what I've
Aye.
always said as well? Celtic always up their game against the English in Europe.
Yep.
They always up their game against the English in Europe. So, and plus, I just like to meet the big boys, you know? Fuck your fucking. You just, well,
Did you just call Tottenham one of the big boys?
no, small club. Smallest club in London, in fact.
Maybe Gio should have took that job.
Hey, brilliant. But if I was going for ease, I'd probably say Randers, aye. But
Aye.
then again, you know what Celtic in Europe
Is
are
that the
like.
team that Rangers fans get mixed up with? In terms of
Aye, they
buying
bought
their
tickets for them, Kim.
They bought tickets for Randers
That's
instead
right.
of Rangers.
Aye, that's right. Right. Anyway, we'll talk
This is
about.
a Celtic podcast. I apologise.
We'll talk about the Conference League in probably more depth as that approaches, and we'll probably talk about the draw as that approaches as well, a bit closer to the time. But let's talk about today's game against Aberdeen in the Scottish Premiership. Celtic 2, Aberdeen 1. Jota and Callum McGregor, the scorers in what was a hard-fought victory for the Celts on yet another emotional day for Celtic, with our kind of final farewell to Bertie Auld over the last few days. We had, of course, the beautiful funeral service at St Mary's, and of course the kind of farewell today. Just before we start talking about the game, it was mad. I loved the way they brought the Celtic song on the day with wee Bertie starting it off. That was brilliant. That nearly had me going, you know.
Do you think that should be a permanent thing? I quite liked it.
I quite liked it as well. You know, I wouldn't mind if they did. Whatever suits, but it was nice. It was really nice. I enjoyed it, and it was nice to see Callum as well. The two captains laying down the reef. Of course, I don't think you've been on the Celtic Thunder since the passing of Bertie, but just on all of that, you know, it was nice to see that the two guys, the two captains, being one of the greatest captains of Scott Brown and our new captain Callum McGregor, and just ultimately paying the respect to Bertie.
It was a nice wee thing. I think obviously when you heard all the stories after Bertie passing, you've seen how much of a presence he had at the club. Like, I think one of the big ones for me, it was Si Ferry told it not to go. They said you go into like the kit room, there's a wee guy, he'd been out with John Clark and such, and they say saying, "Oh, heard you're the next best thing, wee man." So it'd make you feel fucking massive.
Phenomenal.
You'd go out and you'd hear the next boy get in and say, "I've heard you're the next best thing." So
Aye.
it'd fucking fill you up.
That's
But he said again that just the fact that how much of a good guy he actually was,
He cared,
brilliant.
you know, and that's the thing that summed it up to me. And just to kind of round this part up, but the thing that summed up to me was that quote from Bertie, and I'm sure it was on Gig Pod once more. It was like, Bertie says, I want you to come and say hello to me. I'd actually be angry if you didn't say hello to me. You know, he was for everybody. You know, he wasn't this big-headed celebrity, modern day footballer. He was just a man of the people.
Honestly, God rest his soul.
God keep him, God
and
bless him.
The funeral service was absolutely beautiful. And
Yeah.
the cortege going through the Celtic way was absolutely brilliant.
That
He
was
got
the
the
only-
send-off that he deserved.
That was the only thing that I hated about Germany, was the fact that I was there and I couldn't make my way down to Celtic Park, but I would, trust me, I'd have been there in a heartbeat if I could have. So God rest Bertie Auld, and we got the result we needed for the likes of him today, a 2-1 win under big pressure, because Rangers earlier in the day headed to the Tony Macaroni. They picked up a win there, which sent them, what at the time was it, 7 clear
7 points
of Celtic. So it was a must win for us, Ryan, today, and under, you know, excruciating circumstances, we did it. One thing that Ange touched on after the game, I was listening to the radio, was both the kind of physical and emotional fatigue going into this game. You look at a Celtic side who played very high intensity game last week in a cup semi-final, a very high intensity game in Europe during the week, and had to play now a high intensity game on a Sunday, along with all the travelling, the kind of sleepless nights, you could say, and then the emotional aspect of, you know, this was a side who in the space of 10 minutes lost a huge game, which could have been a momentous game on Thursday. You know, losing a game like that in that fashion does take an emotional toll on you. So they had to pick themselves up and they had to go out there today and get a result, and they've done that.
Shows that the core of the team is really, really strong, and the relationships that they have with each other is really strong, because you could pull out a win in this sort of way. We had to fight for this result today. I don't know if we would have managed it a couple of months ago, but it just shows you this evolved form of this team. It's getting better and better every week. It wasn't a vintage performance by any stretch of the imagination, but at the end of the day, we got the 3 points. And you talk about you want to go into the business end of the season. This is the business end of the season. Every game until the 2nd of January is a must-win for us, and even after that, you could probably say every game that we play is a must-win. That's just the nature of the beast when you're Celtic Football Club. But it was a good win. Not a great performance, but we got the 3 points, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, Callum, the performance today I thought was utterly dominant of Celtic, but we still had to fight hard and dig deep to find those goals. What did you make of just the overall performance from Celtic today, from kind of start to finish?
I think also I thought we came out very strong, very quick, but then you knew Aberdeen were going to sit in with that sort of 10 men behind the ball. I think you see it. I seen a screenshot earlier on Twitter, and it's just before Jota scores a goal. See, literally the full box just packed out with Aberdeen players, and you think that's kind of a game you're up against. But then also you get that goal, they came out a wee bit. You seen like that played on the left side. Jota was unbelievable
Again,
the first half. Exactly, again.
We've got to rant and
It's
rave about
generally
him, haven't we?
time and time again.
He's magical, isn't he?
a lot of people talk about Kyogo being our best player.
Jota.
Jota's our best player.
I said this, and I don't take it back, I said this at half time today to both Kieran and David, who I sit with. I said, he could be playing in the top half of the Premier League.
Yep,
I
absolutely.
genuinely believe it. I know a lot of times in Scotland, especially in obviously Celtic and Rangers, we can get carried away with our players, but he's a player that I look at him in the same way that I looked at Moussa Dembele, and it only took me 10 games at Moussa Dembele to go, he's got to go to the top. That's how I look at Jota. He's got to go to the top. You're going to play for high level clubs.
I mean, if you look at the top 6 just now in England, he could very possibly be playing for Wolves just because of that Portuguese connection.
Yep.
We are so lucky to have this guy. This guy's far too good for us at the moment.
We've got to pull the trigger.
I think we've got to sign him in January, and I have been saying wait till the summer. It might get to the point that there's potential suitors there that won't that
make him go.
And they make him go. No, I won't sign a deal.
Yep.
But he needs to be signed. This guy, you got to speculate to accumulate. You say you sign him for 6, you'll sell him for 25 to 30, guaranteed.
If you asked me 5 games ago, and I'll come to you, Cam, here, but if you asked me 5 games ago, I would have said let's not be hasty, because it could very easily go downhill. You could see a second half of the season where it isn't that good, but I don't think there's such a thing as jumping the gun now. I think it just has to be done.
Nah, definitely. I think, as McGill says, you need to speculate to accumulate. He is a player that will sell for at least 20 million at a minimum. He's just, as you say, it just doesn't seem right he's playing for a club like us, and the fact that because I was sitting in the pub yesterday with my dad, and again, there was a couple of the older guys sitting behind us, and they were saying would you pay the money?
Oh, would you? Certainly I would.
Man, I'm as straight as they come. That he is bloody gorgeous, honestly.
And it was that, and they says, I don't know, can the price go up? I feel like I didn't want to turn around, jump into that conversation. No, like, they've agreed that price. It's set 6.5. You have to pay it.
Aye, it's like it's a bargain.
Aye.
When you consider, we spent 9 million on Odds and Edward, and we made back. We should have made back more, but we made back, double that. And we got the rewards of paying that. We should learn from that. We should learn that, we play this right, play our cards right. You're bringing in a player that you're going to make money on, and ultimately it's going to make you. You even seen it on Thursday night against Leverkusen. The way he got into positions, and the way he took on defenders, the goal, great finish. He's doing that in the big games and the Premiership games.
He could easily be playing for Bayer Leverkusen.
He could, aye. I mean, who plays on their left hand side? They've got
You've got Diaby on the right, on the left.
Team up and all that, cutting in about, and just.
I can't honestly.
Can't remember who played against
plays
him.
out wide sometimes.
Yeah, but you've got players in it. You can play for it. He's just brilliant. He could go to the very, very top, that boy, and the money has to be spent. Today he was brilliant. I thought that he was the main source of creativity. Another man of the match performance, and we'll talk about the other side of the pitch and stuff like that as well.
Adley plays out in the left hand.
That's right. And he's just fantastic. The first goal today was well worked. Did you enjoy that, Ryan?
I want to say I did, but I was on my phone when they scored it. I was just checking something quickly on my phone, and that's how quick Jota is. Obviously I've watched the replays about 10 or 11 times, so I've seen the goal. Amazing. It's a great wee pass in from McGregor. Mm-hmm. Jota just cuts in and then shoots. Does the goalkeeper get a hand to it, or does he get
I think he gets a slight touch to it.
And then it just goes to the left hand side. Can't complain. Jota was threatening this for a couple of times before. I mean, did you see Johnny Hayes was having an absolute nightmare against them first couple of games?
Don't be disrespectful.
Not being disrespectful, I'm just being honest. Johnny Hayes will be having nightmares of Jota tonight. What a player. Can't
Johnny Hayes, what a player. What a player.
Great servant to the club, but Jota's just next level. Come on. The guy is just phenomenal.
I don't know if I could agree. I think Hayes is better. That we should have kept him.
Who's better looking at
if we kept Hayes, we would never have needed Jota,
Aye, that one. Did you hear that we were actually in for Jota like 6 years ago? Really? We could have got him for like 200k, aye? Nice. To be fair, I don't really care because we've got him at a better point now.
Callum, the penalty, when you make it, there's been a lot of debate on whether or not it is a penalty.
At first when I seen it, I thought, Abada, you stupid cunt. But then seeing the replays, he pulls his leg away and he sees away from him.
Aye.
Bates was already forcing himself down. So for me, I'm looking at that's not a penalty for me.
I think I was convinced in the kind of way home in the car, and then when I got home, it wasn't a penalty.
Yeah.
But I'm still annoyed at Abada a wee bit because he stuck his leg out, and when you do that, it's just.
You give the referee an opportunity or a decision to make there, and
it becomes a fairly easy decision, no matter the strength and contact.
It was a lazy attacker's sort of leg out. You don't want Abada to be doing that. That's not his job.
Are you willing to give the guy a benefit of doubt?
I'm now after seeing replays of it.
Yeah.
Bates is an absolute fucking nightmare.
See where I was sitting in the stadium, obviously I sit in 412, which is above standing at the other end of the fucking park, so I was giving Abada the bastards under the sun. I was like, you fucking wank, like what a stupid dick. But Bates goes down fairly easily, and they get himself back in the game. It was all about fighting hard and back from that. Second half, we go out, we get that goal. We talk about how you get goals, doesn't matter. We got it. Cal McGregor puts it in the back of the net.
We say that FIFA's so unrealistic, and yet that goal was something that I've scored and conceded in FIFA numerous times. Yeah. It was one of the oddest goals I've ever seen in person, but they all count at the end of the day.
They all count. And then it was about holding out from that point. And I would have liked to extend it and liked to have got more goals. But listen, 3 points over the line, walking away with the 3 points to keep the gap at 4 was the main thing. there was a couple of big moments in that second half as well. Juranovic cleared the ball off the line. Brilliant from him. I think Joe Hart made a big save in the first half as well. There's a lot of individual.
Yeah, there was.
There's
really
a lot of individual things to talk about from that game today. Cam, I'll just dive into you here. Anything you'd like to bring up from the game? Anybody in particular? There's got to be talk. I think we'll come on to talk about James McCarthy and stuff like that. But anybody at all, just speak your mind on today's game. I'm opening the door here for you.
I think the main one for me is just Joe Hart. The fact that also that early scare with the Ramirez challenge. It's nice that he's managed to get up and get away from that play on at first, and then as you said, the save and he managed to get across, tip it round the post. After that, I thought it's a pretty comfortable game for there on out.
Big Joe, that was at that point it was not decent. I was worried there. And the fact, the absolute cheek, right? I love you, Ange. The cheek though to have Bain on the bench ahead of Vasilis Barkas.
I know, and it's not always been like that because he's been getting on the bench a couple of times as well. That's maybe something to watch for the future.
It's just like something of a nightmare, isn't it? Looking over to the bench and seeing
that bench, looking at it.
Just that bench as a whole.
That bench is an absolute nightmare. There's just no.
Forrest was the only decent option today, wasn't it?
Literally, and people still say, Scales, I liked him when he came on. I'm like, he came on against Rafe Rovers. It's a very, very small sample size. Did he come on against Ferencváros as well?
He did come on against Ferencváros.
Do you know, it's still 2 games. He, as far as I'm concerned, he's there to balance up the books with Shamrock Rovers. That is my opinion on the whole thing. He must be.
Why are we balancing books with Shamrock?
Because Dermot Desmond owns Shamrock Rovers as well.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Never even knew that. It shows how much I know.
A paranoid Celtic fan, you just know these things, you know.
Aye. Didn't know that.
Well, we're in for another Shamrock Rovers player
right,
in January. Aye. Balance them up a wee bit more, you know. Is that just what we are now?
You can. Well, I'm not going to judge you, Ryan, on your conspiracy theories because I don't have the right after not knowing about that. I don't just don't pay attention at all. But you can tell there's one person on this panel that looks through these Kerrydale Street forums. You can just tell, and it ain't me, and it ain't Callum on the other side of the desk either.
I mean, you've got to be in the know.
In the know.
Mystic McGinley, in the know McGinley, whatever.
Jesus Christ.
In terms of players that you were talking about who stood out, Ralston in the last 5 minutes. The guy's an absolute closer. They say that in basketball, the people that can close out games.
Yep.
He just knows how to win fouls. He knows how to get throw-ins, throw-ins and shies are the same thing. There was a point he just punts it up the park, and you're like, that is exactly what we needed at that point. And they couldn't get out of their own half at that point, which was great.
Right, okay, 2 players I want to talk about today as well, because we'll talk about going into the Hearts game. Starfelt's still out, of course. Beaton was out today. We've still got Rogic out. He's due back Thursday, and we still have Taylor and Julian out as well. So still got a decent sized injury list. So today we've seen a rare start for James McCarthy, and we've seen yet against talk me through what you think of Stephen Welsh.
I think we're finding out where his ceiling is.
He's not good enough.
He's not Starfelt for me. Nah. Starfelt's better.
It's just, I don't know about you, Cam. You do your own. I don't know. You were a big fan of. There's been plenty of centre backs you've spoke to me about in the past. I know you loved Uriah and all the rest of it. And I don't want to write him off because he's still a young guy and he's a product of our youth academy. I understand people want to support those type of players, but it just doesn't fill me with confidence at all.
Nah, he's still very, very raw. I think I would like to see him possibly another loan spell or two out to teams within our league, so he's still playing at this level. Like, what's the young Norwegian one, Leo
Hilda?
He was obviously at Ross County last season.
Yep.
Like a club like that, he's going to play week in, week out, get him that experience. I think, as you said, he's not a Starfelt level.
The day just irritated me, man.
There was a point
and on
went
Thursday as well. He was fucking hell, man.
For the double save with Hart on Thursday, that annoyed the life out of him, just standing there.
You can move, man. Run.
It was like a car. It was like a car stalling.
And the first goal as well on Thursday, I thought he was poor for that as well from the set piece.
I think he's unfortunate because he's trying to cover 2 men at the one time because Ralston gets totally blocked off by about 5 Leverkusen players.
I know Matthew Duff listens to the show all the time, and Matthew Duff will do everything to support Stephen Welsh, but until I just, he's been in and around the first team for, coming up, about 18 months now, since he came into the team. Just over a year. 18 months maybe a bit much, but I just feel like there was a point where he was getting better, and I just feel like that's been it.
This is his ceiling
and
now.
I just feel like it's just not gone any further. And I don't want to be harsh, but there's been such a difference without Starfelt in the team, and that's the brutal truth. I just don't think he's good enough. I really don't.
Starfelt's distribution's better as well.
Yeah,
much,
there was
much
a point.
better.
There was one in the day, man, and I think it was in the second half. Was it the second half? Maybe in the first, actually. I think it was the first half. And Wales, there's nobody around him, and he like boots it, and it just goes away up. It's going towards Ralston, and Ralston's got to fucking.
Aye, remember that.
I'm like, what the fuck's that?
I know.
I'm like, what are you doing, man? And there was no need to kick it like that. And I don't know. He's not a player that you can look at a young player and go, they're going to get better. And I've just not seen it at Stephen Welsh. And it sounds so harsh on him, but I just don't fancy him.
Nah, he's not for me.
Nah, not my bread and butter.
I don't mind him as a squad player. I'm absolutely fine with that, and I'm glad that he's got quite a few games this season because of obviously injuries. It's good to have a player there that can do that.
Aye.
But I think we're finding where his ceiling is, or close to where his
I
ceiling
can
is.
already tell, especially towards me, because I've been the harshest one here. There's going to be people in the comments, one in particular, but there's going to be people in the comments who will hate it when you go in on a like youth academy player. But, you sometimes it's just. I'm just speaking what I think. That's the whole point in this podcast. We all give opinions, and there'll be people back Welsh, and if we get the phone-ins back, somebody can come on and defend them. But I just don't see it.
Speaking of youth players, did you hear that for the first time today since like the 1940s, Aberdeen didn't have a youth development player in their team?
Wow,
That's
I heard
mad.
that in sports.
Fucking hell, that's crazy.
I know.
Fucking sort it out, Aberdeen.
Shocking that, innit?
Fucking hell. Second player I want to talk to you on before we finish up on the Aberdeen game.
Here we go.
He's played a couple of games here and there. James McCarthy, what did you make? So I had a couple of people tweet me, and they were like, so before the game kicked off, right, Celtic put up a tweet of Scott Brown walking into the stadium like, oh, Brunei returns, and I replied to it, I was like, can we swap him for McCarthy? And a few people were, so a couple of folk were like, get a grip, Ryan. And then after the game, a few people tweeted me like, what are you saying about McCarthy now?
The exact same.
Yeah, pretty much.
I didn't think he had a necessarily bad game. I didn't think it was anything special either.
He doesn't fit in this team.
He's just
he
so
stands
slow,
out.
man, doesn't he? He is, and I think it'll have to come with time. Him growing and getting that pace and getting that.
I don't know if the pace is coming.
He turns like the X19 going round the Fort Roundabout. That's how I
What
describe
one?
it. What one? I mean, the wee one, the wee fucking toty one. I thought it was okay in bits of the game. I thought defensively done a couple of things okay. And there was a couple of times I was like, well done, Jumbo. I was happy with a couple of things, right? But there was a few times when he gets the ball and you see Beaton on Thursday night with his slipper zone was turning and moving the ball. He was doing it well. McCarthy takes it. There's somebody on the run and he's standing there. Move it. Right, I should go. Right, yeah. James, go. No, he'll move it 2 yards to the fucking centre half. And he took so long, and he's static for me. And he looks like a big lump of wood.
Yeah.
What would you say?
I'm still not having him. He's just, as you say, look, the difference that I've never fought in a Celtic game while we miss near Beaton, apart from Thursday night and again the day. It's Beaton started to adapt his game to play Andrew's style of football. You see him taking the ball and running with it. Mm-hmm. McCarthy just doesn't offer that whatsoever.
It's just, it looks a bit lost, doesn't he?
Ange didn't sign him.
No, of course not.
No, not at all.
Absolutely not. And somebody messaged me, a Rangers fan messaged me on Thursday night, and he was like, was it for, it was like, because I knew I was in, how's Germany, blah, blah, blah. He was like, can I ask you one question? And I was like, and he was like, did you sign McCarthy because he's Irish? And I was like, not quite, but you're almost there. Dermot signed him. He's Dermot's parity. And there was a few people, and I said the same thing to you earlier as well. The Super Scoreboard, they had a collar on, and Gordon Duncan says, what do you make of McCarthy today? And it was like, oh, it's inevitable he's going to come good, isn't it? I was like, is it? I was like, honestly, I don't know. It seems like I've just launched tirades on two of our players here over the past fucking 10 minutes, right? But like, I don't know, leave me your opinions below what you thought about James McCarthy, because I don't think he was terrible, but I would give him no more than the bare minimum pass mark.
Yeah, probably give him like a 5 out of 10. I don't really think he done that much at all.
Like, I just don't get why there was people tweeting at me.
Granted, I thought Turnbull was awful as well today.
I thought Turnbull was poor today. I did.
I would actually like to do a wee segment on him.
I need to go, take it away, mate. We've gone back to, we've just won and we've got to slag folk. Right, go, mate.
What is he bringing to the team at the moment? What is Turnbull actually doing for this team, apart from taking set pieces?
Do you know, a thought actually crossed my mind during the game today, and I wasn't going to, it was very briefly after he'd done something wrong. And I was thinking to myself, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, I don't think we're far away from Ange thinking to himself, okay, I could get someone better.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a play. I don't know. Is it the adjustment? Is it the getting used to a new system? I don't know. But
I think he's too comfortable. He's too comfortable in the team.
You're looking at someone like Tom Rogic, who spent so long out the team, coming in and doing a far better job than what he's been doing. I don't want to be too harsh on Turnbull because I don't think he's been awful, but I do think he's been a real kind of downgrade on what we had last season.
I've got to be honest, in the team he's probably my favourite player because I know what he's capable of. That's why I'm so harsh on Turnbull, because I was so desperate for us to sign him in 2019. Obviously that didn't happen due to various issues. 2010-20 when we got him, brilliant. Then he never played. Then he came in November and he was absolutely brilliant. And then he became our player of the season. There was a couple of other candidates higher, etc. But he won the player of the season. And I thought this is the season to kick on a wee bit and actually take games by the scruff of the neck.
Yep.
He's not doing it. He's a bit of a wallflower in this team. I think he just lets a lot of things pass by. There was one moment today that was good that he totally got by the defender and totally turned him, and then he totally misplaced his pass. He was trying to do one of those curler ones outside to somebody. I think it was one of the wingers on the other side, maybe Jota, but it just didn't come off. I just want him to improve. I want to see the Turnbull of last season, or certainly in bits of last season. It's infuriating because you know all the technical ability is there and it's not getting shown every game. He needs consistency in his game and he needs to start bossing games because I think he just fades in and out of games very easily. But I absolutely love the guy. So
yeah, I think Calmy, as much as he might be in a little kind of stale period, he's a kind of player that deep down you're like, it'll be okay. I mean, you're hoping it'll be okay anyway.
As you said, I'd like to think him as of like a younger Tom Rogic. And he can come in, as you said, and control games, make the games his. Because the amount of times we've seen Rogic in big games for Celtic and the way he just takes control of that midfield is phenomenal. So you would like him to kick on like that. But as you said, there's been one too many periods this season I feel as if he's just not been in the game whatsoever.
Aye.
And he's one of those players, if he's not in it, then that's him for the full 90 minutes.
Well, at the end of the day, we got the win, boys. We should be positive about that. I'm very happy about that. I'm very chuffed for Ange. The way he spoke after the game, I thought was brilliant too. And we've got an average to tall manager. So I'm buzzing.
He's bigger. He's bigger than Gio, so he's a bigger presence.
Yes,
and we embrace that. We take that. If you would call him Fat Ange, you'd be like, he is a bigger guy, but
it means he's probably a cracking opera singer, which I love.
And I was going to say Angelotti, but that sounds like Angelotti.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Angelotti.
I might need to trademark that.
I'm going to go and tweet that right now.
I need the likes, mate. Come
Angelotti. So we'll.
In fact, if you're still watching,
there's
Angelotti.
There's your comment, Angelotti. If you're still listening, none of your dog shite, pal.
It wasn't me that said it.
Aye, none of that. Angelotti. There we go. Right, let's go to a wee bit before we start talking about more football, like actual football, like on the park football. Let's talk about off the park stuff, and let's talk about Celtic apparently being close to signing their first January target. That being one Rio Hatate of let me get this right. What team is it he plays for? Kawasaki Frontale.
Champions.
The champions of the
runaway champions as well.
Champions. It looks as though he said his final goodbye to the players. Contract set to expire in January, of course. The left back who can also play in midfield, or midfielder who can also play at left back. 24 years of age. Ryan, tell us everything you kind of know at the moment. Are you happy that this looks to be a deal that's been done?
He looks like he's got a great strike on him as well, judging by his YouTube videos. Now I know
this season, just on that, sorry to cut you off, but this season 29 appearances, 5 goals for a guy who's played, I think left back mainly. I don't know.
He's played in the left side and in the middle as well. But those two positions there, the left back and the centre of midfield, that's going to be important as an inverted fullback if you're playing in Ange's team. If you've got somebody that's so comfortable in playing in the middle, then he'll be brilliant at left back because then he can just come in at the middle and sort of dictate the game from there. Ralston's been doing a good job and Taylor was okay at it. He was carrying it out, to be fair. I think Ange's quite a big fan of Taylor, or a fan of his work ethic and that. But this guy would probably be the next level. This would be the level up. And a guy that can play Ange ball would be absolutely brilliant. And a left back to go with a right back in Juranovic, because Juranovic was coming into the centre today as well, and it was working, which was quite good. So it'd be a really good sign. And if we can get him for quite cheap, then that all the better. I just hope we can get him and Maida as well.
It's good to get in somebody who can play left back, Callum, isn't it? Because there's been a lot of talk about Juranovic, how he should probably get back to his normal position, his right back position. There's been a lot of talk about how Taylor may or may not be good enough for the starting 11. Ultimately, we just don't have depth in that area, so it's good to bring in someone who could be the potential new starting left back at Celtic.
No, it definitely is. I think the way McGinley touched on it as well, the fact that him playing centre mid, it works so well for Ange's style of play, because we know he can drop in there, take the ball, turn, move it. As you said, not so much a lack of the positions at left back. Obviously, Bolly's had these problems off pitch, this, that, and the rest of it. But it would be nice to see somebody fresh in there. So I think obviously after watching Taylor all of last season, it'd been nice to see something different.
Yeah, Bolly's a weird one, isn't it? Because obviously he's not came back in, but you'd imagine that with Hatate coming in, that would maybe be the end of Bolly's time at Celtic coming up.
Still in the Christmas advert, weirdly enough.
I know. Well, you've got to get him in. He's still a man. He's still a Celtic player at the end of the day. Yeah, Callum, as well on that, what was I going to say to you just as you were touching on that? There was something I was going to ask, and it's just completely slipped my mind now. It's honestly just gone far. Oh yeah, and look, if we've learned anything from Kyogo, I suppose, it could be another J League gem.
I'd more than happy with that. Also, you say the contract expiring in January, so you will get him at a fairly cheap price. As such, I think it just also be the willing factor of would they want to come over here and relocate and such. But I mean, again, I don't see why not. He gets to play European football, and the competitions are something they don't get out over there. So a nice change for him.
Good age as well, 24.
Yeah, 24 could be a mainstay.
Not too young, not too old. Just that perfect middle ground.
He's still hit his prime, but it's nice for him to build into it for here.
Yeah, let's get Koki Mizuno back, man.
He must be 35.
He's bring him into set pieces.
Let's see. Like Koki Mizuno, I always wanted him to be like the next big thing.
36.
36.
He still plays in the J3 league.
Mate, these Japanese players, they keep themselves fit.
There's a 50-year-old still playing, isn't there?
Nakamura's what? He's
42.
I mean, that's mad. They keep themselves fit. Honestly,
he must just like walk around the pitch. He stretches while he plays, just waiting for a free kick.
I see videos of him panning his cunt in, man. Like, honestly, these are guys that, honestly, they just, I think it's obviously to do with their diet being very different and stuff like that. I think they just keep themselves in a tremendous fashion. Because you notice it with a lot of them, they come over and they are a lot skinnier, their diets are different, their training's different and such like that, they're brought up ultimately different. That's another thing about Germany, by the way, fucking hell. There must be, you get told not to drink the water abroad. They're fucking hiding something, that's how, because they're monsters. There's, number one, the people that I seen queuing up for nightclubs, who I imagine are around my age, 21, 22, stuff like that, not a spot in their face, like not one spot in sight. Acne doesn't exist. Number two, they're all about 6'4" with arms bigger than my head. You know what I mean? Like, these Germans are fed different, and I want a slice.
I would be like Gio over there, wouldn't I?
You're no kicking the ass off it here, Ryan. Don't fucking worry yourself. I just honestly, I felt like a child. Like, we went up to the queue on Wednesday night. We're like, fuck it, let's go to the nightclubs. So we marched. I don't know why, because I'm cutting a bit with a Sellik. Zipper and fucking alright twat. Like, I get up to the queue and the guy's like, blah 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 in German. That's ich spreche is English. He's like, no. Didn't want anything to do with us, man. I was like, fuck off. That was about 3 different clubs, and the people in front of us in the queue or the behind us in the queue, they were all men, man. I was like, and they weren't actually men. They were probably about our age, but they were just fucking huge. I'm like, I get battered in here probably.
Did you not go into a club? No,
I didn't. There was no. It wasn't happening. It just was not happening. There was no. We could have probably tried more, and maybe there was easier ones to get into. But the 2 or 3 that we tried on the Wednesday night were just not having it.
That's weird.
Aye.
I wonder what music they play in German clubs.
When we walked past, it was like, I don't remember hearing any songs I recognised. It was all like kind of your hard techno, that nonsense, and that's not for me at all.
Nah.
I want a nightclub that's got a wee bit of,
I think if I was to go into a German nightclub and I heard 99 Red Balloons, I'd be so happy.
What's that band called again? They had heavy metal.
Manskin.
No,
they're not heavy metal.
They're Italian as well. The German, is it Rammstein?
Rammstein.
Is that him thinking? Rammstein? Is that him thinking? That's what I want, a German nightclub.
Placebo, are they from Germany?
I don't know any German artists. But anyway, no, we're getting a bit off track here. So yeah, Japanese. Let's raid the league, get all the best players, and just win the league with the guy, the team that he plays for. Right, let's very quickly then on the last, before we head on to the Twitter questions.
It's not placebo, it's Kraftwerk.
Who's that?
I don't know, I just wanted to clear that up, sorry.
Kraftwerk? No. The Domination? No.
That's Kernkraft, is it not?
Is it? I don't know. I thought it was similar.
It does
Sorry for getting you. They are a German band and they're from Dusseldorf.
There you go, Ryan. You've the wonderful way him.
Fortuna. What a team, by the way. Well, they were great, to be fair. Do you know how much I spent in the club store?
How much?
€125.
What did you buy?
You came out fucking hat, scarf, gloves, a full shebang, didn't you?
Got the third top, really nice black and white number. That was €85. I got a pair of gloves, that was €10. I got my scarf, that was €10. And I got a beanie. No, my Christ, you should see the beanie. It's a fucking nick, man. I was going to get one of the ones with the bobble, but then I thought, I don't know, I look stupid in that or no, so I just got a normal beanie and it's just horrendous.
Is it bad?
I'll show you, I'll send you a photo later of me like in the whole gear dressed up.
Me.
I'm basically an ultra now.
God bless.
Honestly, drinking beer in the stadium is just, get it back up here, man. There's no reason we can't do it. Well, on a derby, yes, but make that a dry game. But like today, for example, against Aberdeen, no reason you can't sit with a couple of pints at that.
I know.
That's a genuine conversation. I'd like to talk about that in a podcast in depth, and I would love to get somebody like fucking Nikki Sturgeon on and talk to her about. I genuinely would. I think that there is such suppression in fan culture over here for fans to have the full experience. The fact that you can go down the border to a country like in England who fight more amongst themselves than anybody, and they can go to the games, they can enjoy their beers in the concourse, they can have a laugh, and I'm sitting in Germany, fucking beer in one hand, snout in the other on my seat. I'm not saying bring back smoking, but I'm sitting there having a fucking ball of a time. And over here, it has been suppressed because of acts in the past, and I think there is ways it can be combated. Mm-hmm. And I think that, these derby games against Rangers, they can obviously be made dry games. Okay, that's understandable why fans can't. But listen, a Wednesday night against Hamilton Academical in the league, there is absolutely no reason they can't sell pints in the ground.
We're still getting punished for acts that happened
years ago.
35 years ago, was it 1985?
Yep.
I mean, that was ages ago. We weren't even born. We were getting punished for something we didn't even do. We weren't even around. We couldn't even contribute to it.
And I know you get your crackpots who go to games and they'll have a couple of drinks and they will become feisty and they might try and start their own supporters. That's natural. You get that when they're sober. I know, man. If you're that much of a wank, you're probably going to do it without a drink in you.
I'd be fine with a complete ban if it was all sports, but the fact is we get punished because it's football.
Mm-hmm.
And rugby, you can drink whatever. And then piss in other people's mouths and stuff.
That was like the one with the wee guy, he got whited on, didn't he?
Aye.
The rugby.
Why from something, it was after the Hampden riots, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. 1980.
Yeah.
Come on, we're 40 years on now, and we're still being punished for that. And it's just, it annoys me. It annoys me knowing that I was just, it made it a more enjoyable experience going to my wee pint. And sitting there on the ground, my wee pint of Schumacher ale from Dusseldorf. It's fantastic. Lovely. Bring it back. I want to get a fucking Nicky on. Right, listen, you cow. Give me my beer. That's all I want to say to you. That's it.
Let's hope she behaves herself in the next couple of months. Don't want any of that nonsense happening this year.
No, the way it's gone. Right, okay, last thing to talk about, Thursday night football. It's not quite Europa League, but it is once again another big game in the Scottish Premiership as Celtic take on Hearts. I'll be doing a full-on preview show on Wednesday probably, where I will talk about the game, but very quickly. Calm, we want revenge for that opening match day game. We kind of got that in the Betfred Cup when we played them at Celtic Park. We're at Celtic Park again this time, but it's important that we don't drop points here on Thursday.
Definitely. I think, as obviously McGinley touched on earlier, every game from now to the second is a must win. You can't be dropping points in games like this. I know obviously even the lesser games can't be dropping them, but this you'd like to go out and sort of keep kicking on the way we have been in the league, take another win off them, but see if you can go and take another couple of goals as well, make it a proper dominant performance. I'd be more than happy with that.
Hearts have kept it going, to be fair, McGinley. They haven't fell away in the fashion that I think a lot of people might have expected them to. They've played 15 games this season. They've still lost less games than Celtic. They've only lost twice. They've won 2 of their last 3 as well. And ultimately, they're only 2 points behind Celtic. Granted, we have a game in hand over them. They're only 2 points behind. It's still a team who offer a genuine threat even at Celtic. I know Celtic Park are those games in the league where we go, we should be winning because we're Celtic, but they do bring a genuine threat to Celtic Park on Thursday.
I really like a Thursday night game, Thursday night against Hearts when it's cold outside. There's just something about it. It's a big game. They always come wanting to kick up a fuss basically with tackles, whatever. There'll be a difficult team. They'll get some really good players in there. Boyce, Mackay, Kingsley scored a cracking free kick the other day. They're a good team. They're in good form. They had a couple of defeats, but they won their last game, so they'll be coming in full of confidence and hoping that they can get another win off of us. But I still maintain the fact that if we turn up and play our own game, I think we're too good for most teams in this league, if not all of them.
Okay.
So it's all about us.
I get that. I would agree. I think it's a game Celtic should be winning because the Celtic Park, we've seen in the last game at Celtic Park, in that first half, we could have had 5 or 6 goals. Ultimately, the game finished 3-2. It was a lot closer than the performance should have merited. But we could have had 5 or 6 in that first half, and I think we are good enough for a Celtic Park win.
If they set up the way that they set up in the first half against us at Celtic Park months ago, it could be a cricket score, honestly, because we were looking so dangerous that day. They did pull it out. I'm confident. I have to be confident because we're in good form just now in the league. I'm feeling good about the team, the way we're playing. I'm looking forward to this game. It'll be a difficult game, but we rise to the challenge most times. So
we do. It could be a bit early for score predictions, but we do have a couple of players returning. Callum, that's Rogic we've heard might be back.
He's definitely going to be back for Thursday.
Rogic and Beaton back for Thursday. That's always an added bonus, isn't it?
Definitely. I think, as obviously we touched on earlier with Turnbull, it'd be nice to have Rogic back in either alongside him or if he is to decide to swap him, drop him out. But Rogic in, it'd be nice to see him back, especially because the form he was in before his injury. And then nice to be beat on, but as we touched on again earlier with Thursday, the performance he put in, you'd like a solid performance like that from him.
One thing that we haven't really touched on, I don't want to spend too much on it because I want to get into the last segment, but we spoke so long about how Celtic needed a settled midfield, and then we thought the settled midfield became McGregor, Rogic, Turnbull, and then we said, okay, we can't play Rogic and Turnbull on the same team, and then we said, okay, they're starting to be able to play well together, and then, but now I still think in January we should be signing someone, we should be thinking ahead into signing a CDM or something, but I think right now you could say that the likes of Rogic, McGregor, and Beaton is now part of the settled midfield, maybe with how he's played recently. He's played that well. Yeah,
but at the same time, I would quite like to see McGregor playing in that holding midfielder role again. I think his best performances this season have came there. He can just dictate the game from the centre halves. It's handy when you get Starfelt and Carter Vickers that can just pass the ball out to McGregor and then he leads from the front and just passes to whoever or plays in a good cross or whatever. He's so good when he's there because he's not as tightly marked as well. So he's got room to manoeuvre and run forward, which is absolutely brilliant. I would like to see him in that, but if Ange prefers him further forward and it's him, Rogic, and if Beaton's back, then I'd be quite happy for Beaton to be playing there because he's got a forward pass on him as well. Like he's so underrated with his forward passing and his footballing IQ. He is a good player. It's just he makes stupid decisions sometimes.
Yeah. So, score predictions, is it too early for it?
No.
Anyway? Alright, give yours in.
I'm going to go for 3-1 again.
3-1. Calm.
2-0.
2-0. I'm going to go for a 2-0 as well, I think. I think that's a decent scoreline. Keep another clean sheet, hopefully. Send Joe Hart up the road to his head and shoulders. I love Joe. Christmas advert, wouldn't make it, boys? Cracking, eh?
It was great, wasn't
Best one yet?
Aye, it was much better than last year's.
Last year's was just at the time.
Do you know the timing of that, man?
It was tragic.
So yeah, I wouldn't have bothered releasing it. I just been like, fuck it, we've put this. Fuck it, I don't care.
Not to mention the other side of the city, but did you see their Christmas advert?
Oh my god.
Now, Stephen Gerrard must have been doing the voiceover for that because there is no way that lassie get paid for that. She was horrendous. She was absolutely horrendous. I've heard more life in her. I don't know. I actually stopped myself from saying something there.
Christ.
I've seen more life in her. I don't know.
And, I don't know.
It's something that's not lifeless.
I don't know. It could be anything.
It could be anything.
Margaret Thatcher. They say mere life and Margaret Thatcher.
Aye, but she was horrendous, man. There was no emotion at all.
So I got Geo in as a dwarf elf, a dwarf elf. An elf.
He's an angry elf.
An angry elf, aye. Right, let's go on to the final segment of the show. There is no quiz today.
That's because you were talking about Stephen Welsh, pure bad.
I know Matthew's fell at me already. No, I didn't think there was point in having a quiz today because we're actually here for back-to-back recordings. So I actually should be getting a move on here. We're going to try and do a quick TSF after this. So
it's going to be Celtic Thunder 2.0, isn't it?
Basically, it's just going to be that. So we're going to be doing 2 podcasts, and I thought, ultimately I forgot to message Matthew as well. So basically, it's just no quiz for this one, but you've still got an hour worth of content alongside this impending quiz. So bring it on, I say. Ravioli, give me the formula. The first question, Aaron Smith says, out with Jota, which Celtic player has the best trim? See, years ago you would have said Hart with the advert and that, but his hair's, the hairline's coming in. It's receding. It's nearly there. I'm trying to think who's got the best trim. It's a shame Laxalt's not here anymore.
He'd have the worst. Absolutely.
Who has the best?
He is my sleep paralysis demon of last season. Honestly, even the thought of Laxalt just gives me shivers.
Yeah, tomorrow.
I'm trying to go through them all.
Nobody's really got an extravagant trim.
I think I've had the skin fade's quite classy.
You love a skin fade.
I do.
I don't think anybody's got a particular. Owen Moffat. You're laughing at.
We're on Weasley.
I like Owen Moffat.
No, actually, do you know who I'm going to say? Gavin Strachan.
Oh yeah.
He's had a wee bit of a glow up. I think he's been to Gok once.
He has.
It's a good wee acknowledgement in the Christmas advert.
That's
good for him.
But do you think anybody's got a particularly good trim?
Everybody hated it last season. See Forrest, and it was long and slick back. I loved that.
Did you like it?
Aye, I enjoyed it.
Fair enough.
I think he's looking quite good now, to be fair.
Hey, Forrest.
It's a nice the way he's get it up and back.
I can't believe he's laughing at Owen Moffat. It's a cracker of a haircut, to be quite honest.
I'm going through the other players in my head.
I just want to know when he's going back to get it finished.
No, I like it.
Tony Ralston. He's got a nice one. It's just chill. He's got the beard combo as well, though.
No.
He looks like a big shit house. He has a big shit house. That's why we love him.
Right. What did you most enjoy? Oh, here's this is one for me. Sorry, lads. Don't want to talk to you. What did you enjoy most about the Germany, and what is the country you want to go to the most for a Celtic European away game? So I can bring you to that point. The thing I enjoyed the most about Germany,
Gas cookers.
Oh, definitely. Christ. Just to clarify, I was not in the gas cookers. I was not. I was denied entry. The best thing. There was so many things about it. I loved Kolsch, the Colonian beer. That was just very nice. So basically, you don't drink beer, but you know how in beer you get lager, you get pilsner, you get So in Germany and in Cologne in particular, it's Kolsch. So there was one called Sion, very nice. There was one can't remember the name. It was very nice. Dusseldorf had their own beer, like they make in Dusseldorf, and it's exclusive to the city of Dusseldorf. I think it was called Schumacher. God rest him.
He's not dead.
I mean, he kind of is.
He's not in a great state. But I like that. The beer could be easy. I love currywurst. Like, I absolutely, it's my favourite. I was buzzing to go back and get it because I've not had it in a long time, like in Germany. Last time I had it in Germany was the only time I was there in 2016. So it could be currywurst. It could be that. But the beer in the stadiums especially was nice. A lot of good things about it. It's my favourite country on earth. I can't wait to go back, and I'm hoping I'm back soon as a Dusseldorf Ultra. If we could pick one country to go to for a Celtic European game, what he's picking?
One country?
What he's nice picking?
Italy. I'd like to go to Italy.
Done Rome. But I'd like to do like maybe one of the coastal kind of cities in Italy.
Like Naples or something like that. Is that in the coast?
Yeah, it's in the coast. I've been to Naples. Aye.
Is it good?
It's not, well, we're only there for a day because
we've got a good team at the moment too.
They have. If I was to go anywhere for a European away trip next, I've done Spain, I've done Italy, I've done Germany. I could complete like the big five or the big four and say France. But French football's in the mud, and you'd probably get mugged there at the rate it's gone.
It's crazy, though. Now.
Everybody
says Croatia.
Croatia could be decent. I think I would love to just go back over to the same region. I think I'd like to go to, say, like in Austria. I think I'd like to do something like that. I just love that region of Europe, like Germany, Austria, you know, a wee bit of Switzerland.
Sort of Alps
and stuff.
area.
All that kind of nonsense, you know, I like that. What about you, Cam?
Yeah. Quite fancy the Czech Republic.
The Czech Republic, aye. We trip to the likes of Prague, get done in for some Prague ultra.
Prague.
The country of racism.
The country that you would least like to go to. I like this. I would hate to go to somewhere like. I think it would be terrifying to go to like Belgrade,
Ukraine,
Ukraine. You know,
Moldova. One of those sort of areas.
Belgrade against like Red Star. Oh my god, no.
You wouldn't even consider going to that,
even
would
like,
you?
Do you know, Bulgaria is one that I wouldn't like for football. You know, they're a bit after nut as well. But I'm no shite, man.
Depends where you go in Russia as well. In fact, you could say any like sort of former Soviet sort of region.
The old USSR.
Yes.
Aye. I'd like to go to Poland actually for an away game. I think that could be quite good.
This is Krakow's brilliant.
Krakow, aye. But aye, there we go. Good question from Ewan. Thanks very much. Celtic fan group says you're on a night out. You take out a player of choice with you. Who you taking? What you having? And what are you getting the player to take? What? And what are you getting the player you take with you? What?
Right, so what are you getting them at the bar?
Oh right. Okay, right, I get it now. I'm not fucking daft. Sorry, Celtic fan group. I'll start with you, McGinley.
I'm not taking Jota, that's for sure. Honestly, any lassie, like they need to get in there with Jota. The man is.
He would be swarmed.
Would
the man would
could
be
you imagine him in
swarmed.
He is living life in a cheat code.
Yep.
It's
easy mode, mate.
Easy mode, aye.
I'm not a fan of that.
Johnny Hayes.
He's not a Celtic player, mate. That's a shame.
Yes, to me. Now in terms of night out,
who can chuck them back, man? See, I wish Arthur Boric was still in the team. Everybody just shout out yours as you think it. Like, I think if I was, I know what I'm drinking. I'm on the baby Guinnesses all night, man. Fucking cracking name, eh? Tried them?
No, I've not.
Oh, mate, I was throwing them down in fucking Cologne. Oh, cracking.
I thought of the player that I would take out.
Who?
Juranovic.
I was
He's
thinking
such a cool
Juranovic.
cunt.
I was thinking Juranovic maybe. Do you know what? I want to go out in a lads' night with Joe Hart. a proper like Joe Hart would definitely be one of the wankers going up for headers against lassies in the middle of the town. Like, you can just see it right now.
That's just the English part of it.
I know, innit? No, I wouldn't want to go out with Joe Hart, I think.
Would it not be decent?
It could be decent. It could be decent. I tell you, it's a hard question, isn't it? Because there's nobody there that Starfelt, my man Carroll.
He's cool as fuck, isn't he?
I'd go with my man. I think he could like fit people. You know, he's a big guy. You know, he's a scary looking bastard. People wouldn't fuck you, you know.
He's tall, but he's not that tall.
I'd go with Carroll. I'd be getting my baby Guinnesses, and he looks like a man who would enjoy. What would Starfelt enjoy? He'd enjoy a good, strong, cold pint of like Heineken. I think, like just a
solid
big,
choice.
Tall, cold beer. What about you, Cal? You got any thoughts?
I don't know. Usually, if I go on a night out, I just like to enjoy myself. But I think I'd want to go be a cunt and take Carter Vickers with me. You're a wank. Just call everybody on. I've got him with me. I don't care.
You've got your backup.
Exactly.
Sorted.
Don't know. He probably drink a bud or something, a White Claw, went to some American thing.
Even though he's for Southend, but he'll just pretend he's American anyway. Aye.
I think if Carter Vickers was to go up to a club, he would be asking the bouncers for that. Honestly, the guy is.
He looks like a bouncer, doesn't he?
He was great, by the way, in the pre-match press conference. He was a really, really good speaker.
What you drinking, Calm? You would be just on your Stellas or something, wouldn't you?
Yeah, stick to the pints, the VBLs.
The VBLs, what about you? Right, so you're going with Juranovic, you're drinking some shit. You drink that cider nonsense.
Copperberg, no, but I'll drink that. I'll drink that for please, but I'm mostly I'll drink a Venom.
Venom's a solid choice, isn't it?
And but you're getting Juranovic. I can see. Do you know I can see him just walking about with blue wickets.
And he'd still look cool with it. Maybe even a Smirnoff Ice, and he'd still look cool with it because it's Juranovic and he does whatever the fuck he wants.
Okay.
I love the guy.
We'll sort of that.
He wasn't even that great again today, but I don't care. I love him. Joe
says, how big a problem do you think it would be if Hart's injury was serious? Big problem.
Aye.
Big problem. It would not be decent.
No.
We would not be shuffling.
No.
Certainly.
Well, we would be shuffling goalkeepers.
Aye, yeah. Right. Well, I'd be putting big Barkas back in the heartbeat though.
I thought you'd have been taking Barkas in your night out.
Of course, obviously. What a daft cunt, Ryan. Of course I'm going out with Barkas, my boy.
Think we're going to get a skin fade before it.
I don't
You'd
know.
force him to?
I don't think he'd let me, but
Is he getting a wee bit,
surely he's like
sensitive?
Surely
I'm
he
growing
likes
it, guys.
when
I'm
I'm-
growing it. That's not the accent he would have at all.
We spoke about ideal, realistic opponents in the Conference League. Where do we see Celtic domestically in the next 2 and 3 years under Ange winning the league?
And in Europe, winning the Conference League.
Right, okay, so there's a lot of questions that are very similar, so thank you to everybody who's brought them in. I'm going to end off on one final question though, and if you want to get involved, you know what to do, ladies and gentlemen. Go and follow the podcast page on Twitter at Sellik Podcast. That's SELLIK Podcast, and you can get your questions in every week. Hopefully we'll be setting up something. So I keep saying this like we're going to get a phone in. I want to get a phone in series going, but I need to go and look at the technological things surrounding that.
That's a question for Hamish.
That is a question for Hamish. Hamish should probably be able to help me with that. Somebody said ask McGinley about dog poo, but I now understand that reference. But here's a question that I want to end the podcast on, because this is it. We're now out of November nearly, boys. The year has flew by. We're into the last month. We're into Christmas time. It's socially acceptable to listen to your Christmas tunes come the 1st of December.
How many Christmas movies have you watched?
I don't watch Christmas movies.
I watched 2 already. I watched Last Christmas last night and unapologetically enjoyed it. Amelia
I
Clark.
was going to say that one, Amelia Clark, Henry
Yeah.
Golden.
Yeah.
Never seen it, but
It's no
It's on
dis-
Netflix,
Emily
mate.
Clark's nice enough to watch.
It's literally,
True.
it's literally November the 28th, man, and you're watching
It's
Christmas films.
under a month to Christmas.
I am giving that. Under a month, I'll give it that.
I don't even care. 1st of December, it should be. That's when
To
it's.
be fair, I don't put my tree up until 12 days before.
Nice.
Aye.
Yes, but anyway, we're now into Christmas time. We now can shovel on your Elton Johns, your Paul McCartneys, your John Lennons, your
What?
Michael Bublé's, your George
Selectors.
Michaels, your Bo Selectors. We can listen to it all. But Celtic have a packed schedule for the month, and Archie asks, can we afford to drop any points in December?
Absolutely not.
No.
The only points we can afford to drop are in the Europa League because they don't mean anything.
Here is Celtic's schedule to finish off this episode of the podcast. Here is Celtic's schedule for the month of December. Thursday the 2nd, we take on Hearts at Celtic Park. Sunday the 5th, we head to Tannadice to take on Dundee United. Thursday the 9th, we take on Real Betis at Celtic Park. Sunday the 12th, we take on Motherwell at Celtic Park. Ross County on the 15th at Dingwall. The League Cup final on the 19th against Hibs. St Mirren on the 22nd at St Mirren Park. Boxing Day, we take on St Johnstone at McDermott. 29th, we take on Hibs at Celtic Park, and then we finally head into the last game before the winter break, where we take on Rangers on the 2nd of January. So just to make this clear, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 games between now and the 2nd of January. 1 game every 3 days.
I'm not complaining, to be fair, because I love watching Celtic.
I've got videos for days, man. I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't need to
Is
worry
this, the
about
sort of,
content.
is this a good sort of content period for you? Like, will the views come
Christmas
flying back?
Christmas dinner.
Will
she'll
Stevie
be
and
there.
Maggie be getting good presents this year?
Oh, well, my dad will be getting a 50 pence piece, and that'll be him. But that is 10 games, 1 every 3 days. What a month this is going to be.
Crazy, innit?
Can Celtic keep up the intensity and the consistency to hopefully be topped by the 3rd of January? We take it a game at a time, lads.
Yep.
We take it a game at a time. Hearts is first, and it's all about getting a good result there. There's no point in I think, sitting on this podcast and saying, oh yeah, fucking, we'll go into that game against fucking Hibs and we don't even know how we'll get on against Hearts yet. We've got to take it in our stride.
I think these next 10 or so games will show whether we're title challengers or not. We'll know by the 2nd of January for sure.
I think that may go across both sides of the city.
Yep.
Big. I know Rangers did well today, but they'll have a similar schedule. I think they. I don't know if they play a league game the weekend we play in the.
I think the only real
Cup
difference
final.
they'd have would be minus also the cup final if they didn't have one there.
And they surely will have a game that weekend. So
I'd imagine
I'll
so.
check that.
So, you know, and Gio's getting flung into the fire for them. So I think come the second, there is a real chance we could see who the big dogs are in the league. There's also a chance we could be neck and neck. They are playing that weekend. There's also a chance we could still be neck and neck come that point, but there's a huge chance by the end of that 10 games somebody stands out as the favourites for this league title. And that does it, I think, for today, unless you've got anything to throw in last minute in this Monday evening.
I just forgot about a minute ago, we've got another podcast to record.
Yes, I know.
I'm fucking knackered.
Jesus, cannot be bothered at all, but we're going to have to power through it. For Buick and Div's sake, we're going to have to. But lads, thank you very much. We'll take a 5-10 minute before we start
Thank
again. Thank you very much for listening to the Sellik The Thunder this week. Ryan McGinley, thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Callum Craig, it was a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
And I will see you on the Talk Scottish Football channel right after this.